Hola y bienvenidos a este video donde vamos a aprender a usar hay que y tener que. Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to learn to use hay que and tener que. And we'll also learn the difference between the two, the difference in their meaning and in their usage. Now we're going to start off with tener que, but before we look at tener que, I want to make sure we know what tener means. So hopefully you've seen this verb and we know that tener is the verb to have. So that's our kind of key component in tener que. So we've got tengo, I have, tienes, you have, tiene, he or she or it has, or singular, they have, tenemos, we have, tenéis, you plural or you all have, and finally tienen, they have. So that's the verb tener. Hopefully we're familiar with that. We know those 6 different forms. Now if I add que, it doesn't really change the meaning of tener. It still means to have, but it's just adding this extra meaning, to have to. So just like in English we can use the verb to have to show possession. I have a dog. We can also use it to show that we need to do something. We must do something. I have to go. I have a dog. I have to go. Same verb, tener, to have. And the same in Spanish, I can use tener to show possession and tener que to show that I have to do something. So if I say tengo que, I'm saying I have to. Tienes que, you have to. Tiene que, he or she or it has to, or singular, they have to. Tenemos que, we have to. Tenéis que, you all have to. And finally, tienen que, they have to. So nice and easy to start using this one. Just tener que, put it into the conjugation that you need. Is it I have to? Is it you have to? Choose the right one. And then you follow it with an infinitive. Jugar, bailar, comer, dormir, ir. Any of those verbs that end in AR, ER, or IR if they're regular. So let's take a look at 3 examples using tener que before we move on to look at how to use hay que. Tengo que ir. I have to go. Tenemos que hablar. We have to talk. Normally means you've done something wrong if someone says tenemos que hablar. Tienes que venir a la fiesta. You have to come to the party. Now in each of these, the green tile, the verb that we have to do, I'm making sure to use that in the infinitive, because if I conjugate that, it's not going to make sense. If I say tengo que voy, I have to I go, it doesn't make sense. So we need to conjugate tener que, but not the verb that we have to do. Now just as we did with tener que, where we first looked at tener on its own, we're going to do the same with hay que. So I, on its own, without the que, means there is or there are. And you might have seen me use this in the video on places in town, en mi pueblo hay, or rooms of the house, en mi casa hay, in my house there is. Hay que, if we apply the logic from before, then hay que should mean there is or there are to. But unfortunately, that doesn't make sense. So hay que, unlike tener que, which we kind of could make sense of with our knowledge of tener, hay que takes on a meaning of its own. So I, there is or there are. Hay que is what we call a set phrase, when it doesn't actually mean what you might think it means. Once we put these 2 words together, it kind of becomes its own word or its own phrase with its own meaning. So we know that hay que has taken on a meaning of its own. So what is that meaning? Well, in French they've got il faut, which means exactly the same, but in English we don't really have an exact equivalent, so I'm going to give you a few different ways of translating it. It could be translated as you must, or you have to, or you gotta, but the key thing here is I'm not saying you as an individual have to do something. Like if I say you have to work hard to be successful, I'm not saying you have to work hard to be successful, I'm just saying a person has to work hard if a person is to have success. It sounds a bit outdated now, but the best translation is actually one must, because one must shows this impersonality. I'm not saying, instead of saying you have to work hard to be successful, if I say one must work hard to be successful, then it takes away any misunderstanding of you speaking to me. Tienes que? No, hay que. I'm not saying you or I or he or she or they have to do something. Hay que kind of expresses it's necessary to, or there is a need to. So it's showing the need for something, but in a way which is impersonal. I'm not specifically referring to an individual person or group of people. Now there are a few things like this in Spanish where English doesn't really offer a direct equivalent, and the best way to really get your head around those things is through examples and seeing them in context. So I could say, para sacar buenas notas, hay que estudiar. So para sacar buenas notas, to get good grades, in order to get good grades, hay que estudiar, one must study. So to get good grades, you've got to study. I'm not saying you specifically, which is why if we use one must, it really is the best translation. It just sounds a bit old-fashioned to say one must study if one is to get good grades. So we could also translate this as to get good grades it's necessary to study. My favorite example actually when teaching IK is how we use it at home. My wife speaks Spanish, and if we need to buy something, she'll say like, hay que comprar pan, or hay que comprar mandarinas. Here we could translate this as we need to buy bread, but actually she's not saying tengo que comprar pan, I have to buy bread, or tienes que comprar pan, you have to buy bread. She could say tenemos que comprar pan, we have to buy bread. But in Spanish it's more common to say hay que comprar, and then the thing that you need to buy. You're just sort of saying it's necessary to buy bread. Hay que ganar la vida. You gotta earn a living. Someone says hay que ganar la vida, they're not saying you have to earn a living, I have to earn a living. They're just saying generally you gotta work to make money. Hopefully you now know how to start using IK and tener que, at least in the present tense, but it might be that you also want to be able to say, I had to do this the other day, or in a couple of weeks I will have to do this, in which case we need to know not just how to use the present tense of tener, but how to also use tener in the preterite tense, tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvisteis, tuvieron, and in the simple future tense, tendré, tendrás, tendrá, tendremos, tendréis, tendrán. So just as we use tengo with que, tengo que, it's the same in the other tenses. We're just using tener in the necessary tense, and then we're adding que, changing the meaning from I had to I had to, or I will have to I will have to. So that's quite simple, but it does require you to know your conjugations of the verb tener in 3 tenses. If you want to say I'm going to have to do something, or you're going to have to do something, instead of I will have to or you will have to, then you could say voy a tener que or vas a tener que, so using the near future tense, and for that you need to know voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van, your 6 conjugations of the verb to go. So we know that to say it is necessary to or one must, we can say hay que, but to say it was necessary to or one had to, we could also say hubo que, and finally it will be necessary to or one will have to, habrá que. So this one's nice and easy because it's impersonal. We don't need to know the 6 conjugations for every tense, so it's really easy to start using this one in the 3 tenses. Just a quick reminder to hit that like button if you found this video useful, if you found it interesting. It's just a click of a button or a tap of the screen for you, but it really means a lot to me, and it helps me to know which videos people have found most useful as well. Also, if you have any comments, please do use the comment function below. You can say something that you learned, something that you found a bit difficult, and again it will help me to plan future videos. And if you haven't already done so, please do hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the future videos that I'll be posting. If you really don't want to miss out on any of them, you can also turn on notifications.